The views or opinions expressed on Ann Arbor Inclusive do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the City of Ann Arbor and the Commission on Disability Issues. For more information about the Ann Arbor Commission on Disability Issues, please visit a2gov.org/disability resources.
Hello everyone and welcome to Ann Arbor Inclusive. I'm Zach Damon. We have a wonderful show for you today as Miss Wheelchair Michigan, Becky Wheeler, joins us in studio. And Becky, if you don't mind, I'd like to just get things rolling if we may.
That would be great, Zach.
All right, wonderful. So first of all, I want to talk a little bit about the history of the Miss Wheelchair Michigan pageant because it's a part of the Miss Wheelchair Michigan Association. And of course, Miss Wheelchair America was organized in 1972 by Columbus, Ohio physician Dr. Philip K. Wood as a forum for the promotion and of the achievements as well as the needs of people with mobility impairments. Now, what I think is interesting, Becky, is the mission statement, and I'm going to read that too. And it says, Miss Wheelchair America recognizes the accomplishments of women who utilize wheelchairs for mobility. And so I think that's really interesting, and it's a non-profit program which consists of the state coordinators and the state title holders and has grown to include programs in more than 30 states, including the District of Columbia. And the state programs are staffed and coordinated by volunteers dedicated to increasing public awareness so that all citizens will be informed of the opportunities to lead productive and meaningful lives. And I mean, what a mission statement for an organization. Isn't that awesome?
It is wonderful.
It is. And, you know, I'm curious too, Becky, and originally, what was it that led you to compete for Miss Wheelchair Michigan?
I met a friend that was in a wheelchair. He was a quad. And he kept telling me, he kept saying, Becky, you need to try out for this. You would really do it justice. And I said, no, I can't do this. He's like, yes, you can. So I did it, and I won, and I'm ecstatic about it.
Yeah. Now, when you went in, of course, I mean, what was your initial reaction? You go in, and of course, there's a lot of other contestants, right? There's other people that submit and things like that. So, I mean, were there a lot of other people competing against you?
There was 2 other girls that competed against me, and one of them had tried out 2 years prior and won 4 years.
Oh my gosh.
So I was thinking, oh no, this is not going to happen. They got, you know, a lot more under their belt than I do.
Yeah.
So I thought, I'm going to give it a shot.
Sure. Now, what happens with this? I mean, once you decide you're going to do this, is there coaching? Do they, you know, are you assigned like someone that sort of coaches you on what to do, or one of the volunteers sort of advises you through the process? How does that work?
The president helps you, and they give you, you know, they teach you how to do a platform of what you intend to do if you do win the pageant.
Sure.
But as far as like the events and stuff and the workshops, you just go in there blindsided, basically.
Got it. Wow. I mean, what an experience, though. My goodness. You know, would you mind just talking, because you talked about your platform, and, you know, this is what I think is interesting, too, is that you and I talked before the show, and, you know, you said to me, Zach, what's really important to me is keeping the faith and keeping our communities and buildings accessible, right? And that was sort of that is your platform, and that is your goal, is accessibility and making sure that businesses are accessible and buildings are accessible in the state of Michigan. Can you talk about, first of all, the challenges that are faced with that, but also some of the positives that you have encountered while being crowned Miss Wheelchair Michigan?
Well, when I got crowned, you know, I could go to places that I could not get in, and people would take me serious.
Mm-hmm.
Before I got my crown, they were like, oh, you know, she's just complaining because she can't get in.
Really?
Yeah. So when I got my crown, I thought this was my platform, keep your faith by removing architectural barrier.
Sure.
I was going to stand behind that crown because I took that crown, and I need to make changes.
Right.
So to go to a place that you cannot get into, it's humiliating, it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
To have to call all the time, you know, can I get in here? I've made quite a few changes in my own village right now. They have intended to put elevators in an opera house. That's an historical building.
Wow.
There's a Chamber of Commerce place I went to. I couldn't get in. I told them, you know, I can't get in here. I said, you're a Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
Within 6 days, they had a ramp up.
6 days.
6 days.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Becky, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, you know, I took the crown to do the barrier free, and I intend to do it. The laws have been in effect for 28 years,
Right.
and they need to be worked on. You need to comply by that.
Right. No, and I think that you share a great message with that platform. And it's interesting that you talked about how before, when you were not crowned Miss Wheelchair Michigan, you would still advocate, but yet no one would respond. And yet here you are. You're crowned Miss Wheelchair Michigan, and then people listen. So would it be accurate to say that the crown is sort of a catalyst for accessibility?
Yeah, it is, but it's awful to have to say that.
Yeah.
Because this crown doesn't just belong to me, it belongs to all of you. We are all going to face challenges in our life. We're all going to get older. Someday, you know, I pray to God nobody gets in a wheelchair, you know, but we all are going to face those challenges. And without this crown, I was not a voice. That's really sad.
No, it is. I mean, it's one of those things where, unfortunately, it is an uphill battle. And it is one of those things, I think, where I know for certain issues that I feel passionate about, sometimes you feel like you're walking in a sand dune up the sand. And what I mean by that is that when you're in the sand and you're walking uphill, every actual step that you take is literally actually half a step just because of the terrain. So I'm sure when dealing with certain things that you have with your platform and making things barrier-free and keeping the faith, as you say, to make the state of Michigan barrier-free, it can be a challenge. But Miss Wheelchair Michigan, Becky Wheeler, I'm confident that you're up to that challenge.
I'm ready for it. Thanks a lot, Zach.
No problem. So going back to just the competition too, so as we mentioned, Miss Wheelchair Michigan, it's a branch of Miss Wheelchair America. Can you explain the differences between sort of the state pageant and sort of the national competition? I mean, what are some of the differences there?
The national competition, if you win, you travel through the United States and you take your platform with you and you use that to try to make a difference for what you believe in. The Michigan one is, you know, I won the Michigan title, so my intentions are to travel through the state of Michigan.
Got it.
To follow my platform.
Got it. Okay, so right, so the state competition, you travel around the state.
Right.
The national competition, you have more of ground to cover, basically, and you travel around the United States promoting that platform.
Absolutely.
Got
Yeah.
it. My goodness. So what would you say are some of the biggest highlights about being involved with Miss Wheelchair Michigan and the Miss Wheelchair America organization? I mean, are there perks of being Miss Wheelchair Michigan?
The perks are to watch what you can do to make someone smile that day. To know that you cared enough to make things, for me, accessible for them.
Right.
To know that you have their back and you're not going to give up on them.
Right.
That's the perk for me.
Oh, that's go ahead.
If you make one person smile at the end of the day and help just one person, that's a good day.
That's a difference.
Yeah, it is.
What a philosophy. I like that a lot.
Thanks.
I admire you for that. Now, I have to ask, because you look so good in this tiara, can we get a closer shot of her in this tiara? It looks amazing. I mean, the jewels that are on there. Now, when you're in this, you know, crown and in the sash, I mean, do you get stopped by little girls wanting to sort of, you know, take your picture and, you know?
They get so excited. They're like, oh, there's a queen, there's a princess. And they'll run up and hug you and stuff. They just love it. They just absolutely love it. You should try it on.
I should try it on?
Yeah.
Do you want me to try it on?
Yeah, I think you'd look great in
Yeah?
it. You could probably do it justice.
Well, I'll tell you what. You know, we'll try it on here in a little bit. Sound good?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. But so one of the other things I wanted to ask you too, you know, can you share one of the best memories you have so far of being Miss Wheelchair Michigan?
I think the best memory I have is the village that I live in. they have been trying to make that accessible for years. There was a little boy that lived in that village. He could never participate in any events that happened in the Opera House in that village. He could never participate. He passed away a couple years ago. And he passed away with an illness, but in my head, he passed away with a broken heart. He sat outside that building and never got to participate. So
Really?
my greatest moment is to get that elevator in that building so somebody else doesn't have to sit outside that building with a broken heart.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, and so he was never able to go in and enjoy the great performances that were in that opera house.
No, and Vermontville is such a small village.
Mm.
That's where all the events are held at.
Yeah.
And he missed out on them all. For what reason?
Now, so you're from Vermontville originally, right? That's where you're from, and can you talk about sort of the overall feel of accessibility there? How do the residents react to, a person like yourself who, is awesome, very outgoing, but also is very passionate about making sure that Vermontville and the state of Michigan is barrier-free? Do you get pushback from people in Vermontville on that?
Yeah, some people are like really happy that I brought it to their attention, and then you get the older generation that don't like change, so you're kind of gonna butt heads with them a little bit.
Sure.
And it's okay because life does change.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. It does. What do you say to those people that don't like change? How do you sort of talk to them and say, hey, look, this is why change is good.
I say to them, you've lived in this village probably all your life, and you've worked hard for your home. Are you going to want to move when you reach a certain age because, or a challenge in your life because you can't use the village?
Right.
Who wants to do that? I don't want to move.
No. Well, and again, I think what's great about what you're doing is not only does it help, Vermontville and your specific village, but again, it helps the entire state. And again, the fact that you've seen progress, that you've seen good things happen, that you've seen elevators installed in opera houses and things like that means that you are making a difference. So I hope you know that, and just know that I commend you for that.
Thank you very much.
You're
Sam.
welcome. As you move forward with your crown, first of all, when you're crowned, how long is your tenure as Miss Michigan?
I get to use wear my crown for the first year.
Okay, got it.
But my title continues until my life ends.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Of course. That's awesome. So, of course, Miss Wheelchair Michigan for this year. So what are other goals for you then coming this year? I mean, you've done a lot in Vermontville and around the state, but what are some other places you're going to be traveling in Michigan to help promote that platform?
I want to travel like up across like a Mackinac Island. People don't
yeah.
know how accessible that is.
Right.
And I want to travel across the bridge up in the upper UP because it's never been advertised on what we have in Michigan. Michigan's a beautiful state.
It is.
And to travel anywhere, you have to make plans, and you shouldn't have to go to the extreme to make sure you can get in.
Of course.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I mean, even I'm an outdoorsy person myself. I grew up outdoors, camping and things like that. And I've noticed what's great about Ann Arbor and then a lot of the other surrounding cities is they're starting to be very aware of that, though, right? Like they're starting to make parking and hiking trails. I know Ann Arbor just recently put in some new nature trails that were accessible and made some parks more accessible in the city as well. And then you were just in Traverse City. Did you try that new accessible boardwalk that they put in?
No, I didn't get to try that.
Oh, you
I
didn't?
wish I would have done that. I'll be going back up there.
Okay.
And I'll film it and put it on my Facebook page.
Yeah, but it's but again, you're right on the money, with saying, hey, look, Mackinac Island, the Upper Peninsula, all parts of the state of Michigan need to be barrier-free.
Yes,
And,
they do.
One of the things that I hear too when talking about barrier-free, that people say, oh no, well, this is an historical building, so we're grandfathered in. What is your opinion on that response, grandfathered in?
Well, from what I've learned so far, there's really, all the places that have to be accessible except churches and private clubs.
Okay.
The grandfathered in, I'm learning on that. I'm not so sure on all that's so true,
Sure.
what people's comments are.
Okay.
I'm learning the rules and the laws on that.
Sure. Well, and we just want to say too that as a community and everything. I mean, it helps the financial exchange if the
Absolutely.
state is barrier free, because people with disabilities, they buy goods and services too. They spend money too. Right?
Absolutely, they do. And
Yeah.
what a way to pop your business higher, and have more people come through your stores and stuff. There's walkers, there's canes, there's wheelchairs. There's
Yeah.
all kinds of disabilities out there.
Exactly. Well, and Becky, I wanted to just sort of circle back to, um, because again, you just have such a positive energy and a positive attitude. And when you meet those little girls on the street that want to take your picture and that are just so lit up by you and what you're doing and the good that you're bringing to the state of Michigan, you know, for those little girls out there that are on wheelchairs that are watching, what do you have to say to them in terms of advice, in terms of confidence, in terms of fighting for causes that they believe in?
That to never give up and follow your dreams, and that you do mean something and you can make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And just keep pushing forward until you get to where you want to be
Yeah,
and live life to its fullest.
that's awesome.
Hmm.
That's amazing. And one of the other things too, I mean, how do other women, who, are in wheelchairs that say, hey, that's really cool. I'd love to be able to compete for Miss Wheelchair Michigan or get involved or volunteer. Uh, how can they do that?
They can get online and look up Miss Wheelchair Michigan or look up Miss Wheelchair America, and all the information is on that website.
Okay. And of course, the important thing to note too is that Miss Wheelchair Michigan is it's a volunteer organization, right? You rely on volunteers, you rely on donations.
Hmm.
So of course, people that want to be able to support the cause, want to be able to support Miss Wheelchair Michigan, they can also go online, they can volunteer, and they can donate as well.
Absolutely, everything counts.
Now,
Everything's good.
yeah. Now I'm curious, who judges Miss Wheelchair Michigan?
They pick judges like from out of state,
Okay.
and like this year, a professor from the college in Grand Rapids is going to do it. Just they random pick people
Sure.
that are in the organization.
Sure.
I wish I knew them so I could pay them off, right?
Oh, geez. Well, I don't know if we want to do that. That'd
No,
be
I'm
kind of a
just kidding.
conflict of interest, right?
Yeah, you
But
think.
but what you'd want to do is be able to impress them.
Yeah.
With Miss Wheelchair Michigan too, do you guys have to have like a special talent or anything, like play an instrument or be able to sing or anything like that?
Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Could you imagine that? No, we
Oh,
don't
okay.
have to.
Okay.
Thank God for
So
that.
no playing of a violin or no ballet dancing, anything like that.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen.
No,
but
no, yeah.
Yeah, I might be able to sing a solo, maybe.
Yeah.
Right?
Are you a good singer? Do you like to sing?
I like to sing by myself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How about you?
I do like to sing, but the only singing I usually do is when others are not around, just
Yeah.
so I can spare them
Or turn the radio up really loud, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I think it's great, and I hope others can continue to be behind you, support you, and see you in your next stop. Where are you going to be stopping next in the state of Michigan?
I will be at the Eaton County Fair in Charlotte, Michigan. That's
Okay.
my next adventure.
Okay. And so have you had a favorite place that you've traveled in Michigan so far?
I think Traverse City.
Oh, Traverse City.
Yeah.
My goodness, isn't that place great? I love the Sleeping Bear Dunes. That's one of my favorite spots.
It was hot. It was hot up there the last time I was there.
Heck
so
yeah.
I wasn't out so much. Yeah. But it's a beautiful city.
Oh,
Mhm.
it is. There's a lot going on. I think it's really building up, and
Yeah.
I think it's awesome that you're able to promote the state and continue to travel around. So one of the things I wanted to know from you too, because again, you just have such an amazing attitude and an amazing energy. Where do you think you got that from?
I think I got that from never giving up. I think I got that from following my dreams. Because, I could sit in this chair and cry about being paralyzed. Where would that get me? Where would it help somebody else? So I'm a go-getter. You're not going to slow me down. This chair's not going to confide who I am.
I agree with you, and again, I can't say enough about what I think a great job you're doing of representing Miss Wheelchair Michigan and the Crown. And I wish you all the best with your platform in making sure that Michigan folks can be barrier-free. And make sure to check out Becky Wheeler's Miss Wheelchair Michigan Facebook page on social media and find out where she'll be next. Becky, do you have any final words for anyone watching today?
Just to follow your dream and never give up and just keep going for what you believe in.
Well said, Becky. Well, folks, that's all the time we have for today. I'd like to thank Becky for joining us and hope that you enjoyed the program. And folks, I'd like to take this time to extend my thanks and gratitude to the Ann Arbor Commission on Disability Issues, the Ann Arbor Community Television Network, and the City of Ann Arbor. This is my final broadcast of Ann Arbor Inclusive, and I thank you so much for the opportunity. At this time, I would like to introduce the Chair of the Ann Arbor Commission on Disability Issues, Miss Sally Hart Peterson. Oh, wow.
And as
Oh my
chair
gosh.
of the Ann Arbor Commission on Disability Issues, we would like to thank you, Zach, for your leadership. I'm going to put this down so it doesn't fall
Oh my
off.
God,
But it says, thank you, stay awesome, Zach. Ann Arbor Inclusive was really a pipe dream of our commission, and it wasn't until you came on board as a commissioner. It was your leadership that brought this pipe dream to fruition and to a program now for 3 years that has just been stellar in so many ways. Your leadership with regard to the creativity, set design, scripts, curating just an amazing gallery of guests that all together have really allowed the commission to fulfill what we aim to do, and that is to be inclusive on a very strategic basis and not as an afterthought. And I wish you luck in the future. I heard Becca say, follow your dreams.
That's right.
I am going to reiterate that and hope that you will continue to do it, but we are so grateful to you. We welcome Tom Hotland for our next
Yes.
taping. He will be awesome too, but he's got some big shoes to fill. So thank you again, Zach.
Thank you so much, Sally. Thank you. Thank you, folks.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, folks. This was such a great treat. And thank you again, Sally, for all of your work. And it's been a pleasure.
Wonderful. And now we have cake.